Okay, good to know. All right, let's move to our final thing here. Give it a little time. Because it's Columbus Day coming up soon, or Indigenous Cannibal Day, or Texas State Fair Day. Just the Monday in October we get to have off. And I feel like when this day comes up, it's Let's Topple Statues Day. And let's talk about our history and rehash all the polarization that's happened over the last decade. Honestly, it's a pretty new thing. You wrote an article, and who was a co-writer? I want to give him credit too.
Yeah, John Waters. He was a veteran of the first Trump administration.
Okay.
And is my sometimes co-author. We have a number of series that we're working on together.
Okay, cool. So John Waters. So you and him, y'all kind of wrote a nice piece over at Unheard. For those of y'all that are, that read these things, Unheard is like cool. Okay, I was a little bit jealous when I heard of Adam getting published there. Like, oh man, you're with the cool kids now. Someday I'll be in Unheard someday. Well, because it's British, right? I mean, it's mainly, well, I guess it's both UK and America. But your article, or at least the essay, was really about just kind of Trump's vision for reviving American history, and by doing so, kind of like really trying to hone in on an American brand, an American identity, kind of an iconic status. He did this as a businessman, a real estate guy. Now he's trying to do this kind of in a presidential capacity. And you have the Garden of Heroes, and
yes.
So there are a lot of projects. So, tell me, I got an optimistic white pill feel just by reading it. Is this going to happen, or do you think he has a really good chance of kind of reshaping the way we think about monuments? And are we going to just kind of revert back to monument toppling?
Hard to say. What I will say is that the idea that John and I are working with is what we call monumentalism.
Yeah.
Which by our definition is not about the physical structure. What it is a political orientation. And the function of monumentalism is a recognition that we need to take political action to transmit historical memory into the future. And the way that we do that is through the creation of monuments. I think that the unforgettable images of 2020, 2021 of people desecrating statues, monuments of American heroes sticks in most Americans' minds. And it's important to understand what the left is trying to do there. It's not a random expression of rage. What they want, as Barack Obama said, is to fundamentally transform American society. And you can't enact a fundamental transformation if the majority of people think that the thing you're trying to transform is worth saving. And so this is really a strategic and tactical effort to humiliate the American people. The example that for me is the most vivid example. In June of 2020, I was in my hometown of Rochester, which was all boarded up because there were riots and everything else. Your audience, I'm sure, is familiar with Frederick Douglass, the great American orator, abolitionist, an escaped slave,
Yeah.
Iconic American. And you would think, oh, okay, well, they're just targeting statues of people like Thomas Jefferson, awful, awful people who owned slaves. Well, no, in Rochester, New York, the statue of Frederick Douglass got torn down and thrown into the Genesee River. Now, you can either explain that by saying, well, these people are totally ignorant of history, which I think is unlikely. People in Rochester, New York know who Frederick Douglass was. Or you can explain it by the fact that it's not just about condemning the darker aspects of our country's history. It's about wiping it clean. And the way that you do that is to humiliate people, humiliate Americans, make them humiliated for being American. And only then is the fundamental transformation of the nation possible. Only then are people willing to accept the destruction of what they were and what they had. And so the effort to remonumentalize America is a critical counterattack in the effort to eliminate our past and establish this year zero on which the left can really begin in earnest to begin its utopia.
Okay, so no, that's interesting. Okay, so I'm reading this book by Ben Shapiro. It's this new book, Scavenger Lions and Scavengers. And at first I was kind of like, okay, I feel like I've heard a lot of this already, but now it's kind of getting to me, and I think I kind of like it. Just kind of the driving force of the left. Okay, so you talk about, okay, the left wants to remove monuments, not just the offensive ones, but like pretty much all of them, because they want to reconstruct the identity in a totally new way and kind of get utopia going. What I want to know, I mean, and this is, I'm going to put in Shapiro's argument, is like all this is very scavenger like. Okay, it's all built on envy. I mean, is that what's at work here? You would say, like, they don't like Frederick Douglass as well as Jefferson, Washington, all the others, like out of envy. I mean, is it just like, well, we're never going to be like that, so we're just going to tear it down? And I mean, well, and the other side of this is that, and this is also a component of scavengers, they don't build. Like lions build, but the scavengers don't build. They don't build monuments. Like it's not like they're going to build even like the MLK monument. I don't think they really cared much for. And not in either. It looked like Mao or something. It's kind of a weird statue. But well, and a lot of their art is just kind of ugly. I mean, almost on purpose, like just a fat black woman looking at her phone or something. This seems to be like kind of the leftist art.
Yes,
Or the what is it? The singer, not Whitney Houston, but Tina Turner.
Tina Turner. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
Tina Turner, and over in Tennessee. I mean, so what's the what's the vision here? That's what I just want to know. It's like, okay, is it just like you're envious, you hate these people, we're never going to be great like this, and is this all a lie anyway? And is it just like a lot of like personal insecurity, and that's what drives this, or is there really actually a plan? Because I don't know what the plan is. So what do you replace this stuff with? Are we just not going to get to have pretty things anymore?
Certainly, these people are envious, but I don't think that that's what's driving this.
Okay.
And the idea that they are not builders, I think, is wrong. Um, and you kind of hinted at it yourself. They do, in fact, build monuments.
Yeah.
And let's cycle through some of them. Okay, so we had Black Lives Matter Plaza, right? We had rainbow pride flag crosswalks across the United States.
Yeah.
We had the statues of rotund black women looking at their phones.
Yeah.
We had
Rotund, yes.
full on idolatry of George Floyd in terms of murals, statues, everything else.
Yeah.
They are building things. Now, what do these things have in common? The thing that they have in common is their capacity to demoralize legacy Americans.
Mm.
And that is like, why George Floyd? Well, because why not? Right? Why can't we elevate? These are icons of the revolution. And so it's not only, the humiliation that they need to achieve to accomplish their fundamental transformation of society is not only executed through what they tear down, it's also continued through what they build. What they build is designed to humiliate. And in essence, what they're doing is memorializing the public's humiliation. And of course, that's a requisite move to this is mass movements 101, right? If
Okay.
whatever we're talking about, Russian communism, Chinese communism, all these forms of totalitarianism, German Nazism, you have to have a humiliated public. And historically, Americans have been very proud people. Um, and this is why they go nuts when a rainbow pride or pride flag crosswalk is ripped up. Because again, history inexorably moves us to the leftist utopia, and any such imagery is necessarily turning back the clock, and that simply can't happen. That, in and of itself, in their view, is fascism or totalitarianism or whatever you want to call it. And so I try to give these people credit. I try to, I would like to say, oh, it's just envy, it's blind rage, but I think it's a very strategic operation with very clear goals in mind.
Well, I mean, you're probably right because I don't know how popular this stuff is. I mean, I'm sure the diehard Antifa people, yeah, I mean, they might have this idea, just like, okay, kind of mass manipulation, kind of propaganda campaign type stuff. I mean, I don't think your typical listener. I mean, they might just say, "Oh yeah, whatever, Columbus sucks." Yeah, Washington, just an annoying guy. I don't know. I mean, just to me, it's like how much failure needs to happen because again, I mean, the places where the statue toppling happens in New York, in California. I mean, again, in blue states that, or Philadelphia, yeah, like in Pennsylvania, which I guess is purple, but just these blue areas, I would say they're the ones that get kind of monument toppling happy, and they want to do this. Maybe they have the end goal in mind, which is to demoralize their opponents and to kind of rewrite history, and bring about the new age of Aquarius or whatever they're going for. But I mean, is this just to me? This sounds a little delusional, man. I don't know if toppling monuments like this is going to achieve anything. I mean, and I think it's delusional to think so. I mean, yeah, it's demoralizing, but what? You just put these people in jail, and I mean, it doesn't get too far, does it?
Yeah, I I don't know. You remember during the demonumentalization craze, I believe it was a statue of General Lee that
Okay,
was
yeah,
taken
that was what
down.
Charlottesville or whatever.
Yeah, and you remember that they actually destroyed the statue. They melted it down. And
Yeah,
of course, you're on X and social media. You've seen that we've got high definition video, right, of a red hot face of Lee being melted.
yeah.
You have to ask yourself, who's filming that? Who's doing the destruction? Who's allowing this event to be filmed and why? And I can't think of a reason. If we have to tear down Lee and destroy the statue, I'm pretty sure it was Lee. I may be wrong, but if we have to tear it down, why does the destruction of it need to be publicized? I
Hmm.
don't know how to explain that except to sort of explain it as this tactical humiliation. And you're right, like whether or not the sort of year zero thing will succeed, I think if there was a time for it to succeed, it was probably 2021 and
Yeah.
2020. And we've significantly pushed back, but that doesn't mean, we've beat the Hydra here. I think that ultimately I would bank on the fact that most Americans are proud Americans. And, much of what we're talking about here can be explained by the fact that the average citizen of this country saw in 2020 that something had gone much too far. Um,
COVID was a weird time, man.
it was, boy,
uh,
boy, was it.
but do you think? Okay, well, that makes me think. Okay, so Trump's monumentalism, as you put it, politically speaking, it's a smart move, then, right? I mean, do you think it's going to be popular?
I do.
Okay.
I do. You're probably familiar with this organization called More Monuments that will be they're raising fundraising to create many new monuments. Next 4th of July, they will unveil a 650-foot colossus of George Washington
Yeah, I'm pretty
out,
excited about that.
outside of Austin. I think that there is energy behind this movement, and who wants to be humiliated? Who wants to be demoralized? Who wants to be embarrassed? There's an appetite for Americans to want to be proud, and we have a lot to be proud of. And, we're tired of being embarrassed for being proud. And, as Trump likes to say, we just can't do it anymore. We can't.
Yeah, I agree. Well, you know what? Let's end on that happy note. I'm so glad that we got to have this conversation. Thank you so much, Adam, for talking with me and gracing
Thank you
us
for
with your
the
pair.
invitation.
Yeah,
I've
no, this
really
was
enjoyed
great,
it.
and I hope to do it again. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in. Please make sure to subscribe to this podcast as well as our Substack, everymancommentary.substack.com. Please share this episode, give us a 5-star review, and all the things. Until next time, have a wonderful Columbus Day weekend. Read some good books, read about the great men who made this country, including Columbus, and go in peace.